It is the finals of yet another European Open Cup, and guess who we have as the finalists? Just take a second and guess. Don't look at the screen. If you guessed MaxPax versus Clem, you were correct. In the bottom right of Dragon Scales, we have MaxPax. In the top left, it is Liquid Clem. Tale as old as time. Clem and MaxPax. There's no way to really make that work. But seriously, they've been playing a lot. Now, they've always played frequently. Some of the seeding, I think, kind of worked out more so that they were facing each other in the semifinals. The seeding can change. Ever so slightly. And it has, so that they've always been meeting each other in the finals most recently. Overall, Clem does have the winning record as far as this year is concerned, I think. I should double check that. Because we're actually pretty deep into the year. And my instinct is to say, you know, like, well, for this year, as if it's only been 4 months into the year, we're actually almost done with this year. We're 9 months into it. That doesn't feel nice. That's not cool. Anyhow, so this year, we do have Clem with the overall winning record, 12-17 in matches, which is not dominating. But then you shorten that a little bit more, and you talk about the past 2 months, and Clem won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. To then get bopped 3-0 2 weeks ago. And then you got revenge just barely last week with the 2-3 score, ultimately favoring Clem when it came to that game 5. Very close indeed. And I'll once again describe what I've described in the previous finals casts, which is this kind of weird effect, which is that MaxPax doesn't really do a lot of things differently. It's not a stark contrast to the games that he wins versus Clem's and the games that he doesn't win. A lot of them are the same thing, but obviously different, slightly different build orders sometimes not. Slightly different use of the build order. Attacking to the left with your stock as opposed to the right. One difference makes a world of difference, you know. But it really can be Clem tries to defend a 4-gate. So very standard, like a single What Am I drop in a tank. Bunkers, you know. Versus a 4-gate. And then the results of that setup can be wildly different between the two, depending on the day, depending on the week. And last week, Clem did struggle quite a bit against it, actually. He also struggled the week before. It was a 3-0 was a stomp. But last week, he also struggled a bit. He wasn't really deflecting it and, you know, dealing with it super easy like he was in some of the previous matches, the ones from 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. And really, it really looked like he had kind of figured MaxPax out. Okay, he's going to 4-gate me, and then he's going to attack with the Zealots over there, and the Zealots over here, and I'm going to take care of that. And, you know, it's once again become a matchup between these two in which Clem tries to defend that everything MaxPax throws at him and is only somewhat successful, or straight up not successful. This time around, we're going to have a proxy starports, but it's certainly not all that proxied, and the Hellions have been revealed at this point. The 2 Adept Pressure not able to do much more but scouts, but they scouts the 2 Hellions at the very least. I think they might have missed 3 and 4. Whenever you see a reactor factory, go ahead and be cautious about that medevac drop. Unfortunately for Clem, it looks like he will abandon the perfect timed Hellion drop in exchange for the defense, as his natural has no defense other than these Hellions. With one Hellion already severely injured, MaxPax is helping his defense, perhaps unknowingly. And now he knows. Starport lifted, Adept walks right under it, medevac is like, oh, yeah, I was supposed to meet with someone. It was kind of 10 minutes late, what the hell? MaxPax seems he was already aware of the possibility. It spread out his stalkers. I mean, it's a drop. You know, it's a Terran player. What else do you expect? But now he knows for sure what it is. That one weakened Hellion from earlier does go down immediately. Still one shot with 3 Hellions, however. One more Hellion. There we go. Now it's 2 shot. 2 Hellions will be saved in a fairly healthy medevac to come back at a later time. In that case, 6 probes is okay. It really just sucks that 3 SCVs also went down. And that did get delayed because 3 SCVs went down. Depths were in the natural. Could have been better for Clem is what I'm trying to get at. Now that also did scouts, and surprise, surprise, MaxPax is 4-gating. Clem was well aware of this, and he has been producing tanks. Second one is about to pop out. Bunker, however, is very late to the natural, non-existent in the main. And a lot of times, Clem's defense is 2 bunkers natural, 1 bunker main. 1 tank will get jumped upon immediately. The other one is only going to get 1 shot. Yeah, not even 2, and that is actually it. That is 100% it. GG. MaxPax. Very convincing game 1, with just a couple of adepts really ruining Clem's plan. I stopped a dastardly ne'er-do-well from entering into the lobby. Just doing my civic duty, sir. Alright, right map, right races, no strangers in the lobby. We are finally getting into game number 2 on Grasvan. Top left, MaxPax, bottom right, Clem. Clem just never got started. I mean, MaxPax with 2 adepts, using them like a scalpel. Just the correct pricks, you know? It didn't seem like a whole lot. It didn't seem like it was going to ruin everything. But just with that kind of 1 to 2 sharp moves. First, the adepts getting close enough, obviously, to scout the factory, which is already good. Usually happens, though. Not too impressive. But then the adepts coming back in at that opportune time really did mess up every part of Clem's plan. His Hellion drop was worse, and because of that, the attack from MaxPax comes in a little bit faster, having not, you know, had to worry about the drop as long as it could. And then you also have less damage to accommodate, perhaps, if you do struggle to defend back at home. And then also, Clem was, frankly, just late to the defenses. He really was. I mean, no bunker in the natural was already a pretty bad sign. And then have none in the main for that particular game was pretty devastating. You know, you don't need one in the main, I guess, it's certainly an argument you can make. But against MaxPax, I would say most Terran players do. Again, 2 in the natural, 1 in the main. Clem, probably disappointed from that game as soon as the adepts bothered him. And then he was like, oh, this game's stupid, I hate it. But still tries to do what he can, and then is not very successful with it. Realizes he hasn't defended the 4-gate that's absolutely on the way, and doesn't have high hopes for the defense. Probably saw that tank kill coming seconds before it happened and knew he was going to tap out. Perk Princess, thank you for the 17 months. So, MaxPax with an easy 4-gate to start things off. Really was off the back of those adepts, though. Really, really was. Clem might not be opting to go for a factory-based build again. No Hellion shenanigans. No proxy starport, at the very least. About as awkward as possible. Shield battery in the main is a good indication that they've sent their first gate unit across the map. And indeed, MaxPax has. Totally not uncommon when it comes to this guy, though. Not a big surprise. Clem still has to check. Get the confirmation. Bunker will be done, but that's not really the point. The adepts can do something behind the bunker for a certain amount of time. Usually when that factory unit pops out, that's the real limit. First adept might look like she's in trouble, but she's got a sister. Now it's 2 adepts. Gonna cancel. Delay, sorry, the command center. The micro getting kind of crazy at this point. 2 SCVs have gone down. Reaper and Marine still alive, but how much longer will they live? Marine goes down. Reaper goes down, and the Hellion was locked in the main base this entire time. Oh, no. Because if he had a Hellion, he could have easily kept the Reaper and Marine not involved with the attack of the defense. Oh, well. Bousette, thank you for the Prime sub. I mean, we're talking very small details, but this is the type of detail that Clem would be very attentive to usually. And I think would kind of, you know, he'd be doing a nah kind of thing when he realized. So it is going to be another 4-gate. Once you see a Twilight Council from MaxPax, it's a 4-gate. Almost always. He does have DT build, but he hasn't done that in a little while, so not as much. So it's a 4-gate, and since the 4-gate just worked out so wonderfully, why wouldn't you do it again? But Clem has a much more streamlined defense to this 4-gate, so it's unlikely, very unlikely, the 4-gate will work in such a fashion again. It should not win the game instantly. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It might still win the game overall. is that still as well, that it has once again become a problem for Clem. Again, there was a period in which Clem seemed to have absolutely zero problems with the 4-gate, zero problems with the multi-pronged harassment, and was just obliterating MaxPax. And then MaxPax did whatever he did to kind of change things just ever so slightly, and now the 4-gate is a threat again to Clem. 2 Widow Mines get dropped in the main base, causing a lot of lost mining, and we do have that micro coming in to further stop the mining from happening. Couldn't micro much more there. A little bit more here. Stalker's gonna go down. I mean, that's pretty good, and the Widow Mine is actually saved. Oof. Clutch. Tamla, thank you for the gifted sub. That is a good Widow Mine drop then. That was pretty darn decent. The fact that it's alive and come back, kind of, maybe, is also really good. We do have a tank on the high ground, some Marines, and a Raven, with the Sim City being well set up this time. That's an engineering bay he was building there just for the Sim City. That does properly protect the tank. No bunker, which is always a little, you know, scary. That could have been a bunker, I think, for some other Terrans, but engineering bay works out as well. Just about the Sim City. The tank does appear on the wrong side of the production, but at least it does appear, and it is alive still to add in a little bit of DPS, not as much as you would hope, however. Auto turret also did help out, and a Viking pops out too, as the Warp Prism was just getting started. He was prepared to micro a lot there, especially with the tank so close to death, but it is saved. Raven also healthy and alive. Marine count looking pretty good. 3rd tank is on the way, and the double bunker and the natural will hold for a period of time. MaxPax will bust down one of those. Yeah, pretty much guaranteed. Second one also going to go down, however. That's a little more worrisome, and that's why Clem pulls all the SCVs to try and repair that, which he does repair. Medevac has gone down, but oh, so did the Observer. Whoopsie-daisy, coming back in as the auto turret was still up and running. 2 tanks firing away here alongside, again, a good number of Marines. That tank got a shot before it died. Alongside this tank shots and all that Marine, basic DPS, yes, but still DPS. MaxPax gives quite a few stalkers to the cause there. My cat's still chasing a fly. It's very cute, very distracting. Raven still intact, but not very helpful at this point. The bunker still being a great linchpin to the defense. That falls, so you do get into a weird spot where the Marines still don't have stim. And so they're being outranged by the stalkers. It looks like MaxPax has also recognized that he's not going to find that real break point. He has not won straight up with the 4-gate. Has he done enough damage with the 4-gate? As always, is the next question. In this case, I would say no. He actually dedicated quite a bit to it. The 3rd Nex is only just finishing. And Clem, having not had to really pull the SCVs all that often, and not had to sacrifice them, more importantly. They were pulled to repair, so lost mining time, but I would say in some other similar situations, there would also be 7 SCVs killed, something like that. Not so in this game. 6 in total, though. But that's also with the Adept harassment earlier on. Now, this is the additional struggle point that, again, at one point, Clem seemed to not struggle with at all, but is struggling again. And that is the, you know, the read. Is MaxPax actually going into Colossus? Mass charge? Is he building stalkers and I'm not aware? And that's also combined with, does he have Zealots to the left, Zealots to the right, Zealots on a War Prism? It's very annoying, although most of the time, any other pleb Protoss would be dead after a 4-gate didn't work. MaxPax has an ability to survive. That Raven harassment also scouted the true intentions of MaxPax to go into High Templars and Storm, which I think if it was anything but Storm, Clem actually might be a little reserved in his attack, as he has been showing such a playstyle versus MaxPax in the previous best of 5 they played. He was actually very reserved. But seeing as it is Storm, you know that the number of units they have available early on is very, very low. There's a solid chance you can actually engage before Storm is done. And there's also a good chance there won't even be that many Storms, even if it does finish. But this might have still been a mistake. SCVs are going down back at home, or not, actually. Hello, the Stalkers left on the front lines for a very long time as plenty of bio survive. Storm is done, but the High Templars still holding on to the Storms. They're about to slap one down, slap down 2. The splits are going down for Clem. He only has so much medevac healing, though. Another Stim is really going to hurt him. There's that Storm. It's decent. It's okay. MaxPax playing very conservatively with the AoE. Did let a lot of Stalkers take the brunt of the attack, but overall it has worked out. He might be able to rebuild their numbers a little later on if he so chooses. He may not want to. The Zealots did not do all that much damage, by the way, as far as the actual SUV kills, but they did keep a lot of reinforcements back at home. You know, kind of even most importantly, perhaps, the medevac reinforcements. Five medevacs, a decent count. Raven is also still involved. I'm not sure where it is, though. Anti-armor missile might be useful. Or, well, you can't really interference mage to get feedback first. Yeah, I guess an anti-armor missile might be the best thing. Where the heck is it? That's a Marine. There you are. Oh, still chilling. Still chilling in the back of the natural, waiting for an auto-turret harass. MaxPax has survived the first push, but he didn't really do a lot of punishing with it. Ideally, you go surprise storm and they walk right into it, then you chase him down with charge lots. That would have been the ideal situation. No, Clem did survive. All of his army, pretty much all of his army intact, and so just a little bit of patience is rewarded here with now a 60 army supply advantage. High Templars, all types of bunched up, no War Prism to ferry them around. That one tank obliterates every last High Templar. And with all the High Templars gone, so are MaxPax's hopes of winning game number 2. War Prism, what the hell, man? Where were you? What were you doing? Seriously, though, there's a reason. It's always High Templar and War Prisms. MaxPax, maybe not even realizing initially that there was a tank, but, you know, certainly realized that towards the end. Those are very injured bio units. There is absolutely a reason Clem picked up right there, but he is able to evacuate thanks to that lower stalker count, and he won't even evacuate for very long, I suspect. 4 stalkers will be able to tear down 1 medevac. Just barely not. Auto turret back in the natural. Reinforcements, most importantly, as that medevac will get taken down. With some units inside, the reinforcements are here, more medevacs as well, and perhaps some time to heal up this very injured army. No 4th base for you, good sir, and a 70 supply difference overall now. That's what MaxPax has to survive against. Seems unlikely. He's definitely made some comebacks happen, but I don't know about this one. Another 4th base off to the right side this time, as he tries to also get some huge harassing zealots on the other side of the map. I mean, that's a lot. That is a lot of zealots. That's all of his buffer. That is a risk. That is a gamble. 1 zealot sent forward. No, I'm not gonna do anything. Don't worry about it. Just a zealot. Just 1. It's okay. Now there's tons. And now this little squad, which is looking for probably more like 2 to 6 zealots, finds all of them. And with a little bit of micro, should be able to take care of it. And that's really quite wasted for MaxPax. They had potential as a run-by at the perfect moment. That many zealots when you've just, you know, oh, she's Colossus rallies in. When you've just reinforced your main army, that can cause a base trade kind of situation. That can kill 40 plus SCVs. But Clem was already kind of aware of the possibility of that. Once he got the hint of it, he checked for it. And without that, there's no more time buying for MaxPax. He just lost his Colossus to a misrally. 4th Nexus under the gun, no shield battery to help out. EMP is coming down preemptively on top of the High Templars that are being dropped now from a Warp Prism, but one that is getting injured thanks to a single Viking, and the Storms aren't going to be enough. A little bit of a spready here from the Terran, and that will be it. Clem ties up the series 1-1. So now we have a tied up series. Moving on to Ancient Cistern. Top right, it is Psystorm's MaxPax. Bottom left, it is Clem. And Clem was able to play that out much more to the benefits of his game, which was that he defended the 4 gate and then defended the attempted run-bys. And at that point, you know, there really aren't a lot of comeback opportunities. The 4 gate doesn't cause complications, and then the run-bys don't cause complications. For the most part, Clem does cut the head off the snake. It's when those zealot run-bys cause problems. They kill more SCVs than intended. They distract him for longer than intended, so he takes worse army fights on the offensive. That's when things balance out for MaxPax. Clem is forced to take a breath, pull back, regroup, and that gives MaxPax time to thrive. He did not have time in that last game. That's the ideal scenario for the Terran. The MaxPax, will he be deterred from the entire series from doing another 4 gate? Probably not. We'll probably see at least 1 more. in this best of 5. But maybe not right here in this game number 3 on Ancient Cistern. Might have a changeover into Phoenix play. Clem's gone for 1x expand, nothing sus coming down here. It's gonna bother SCV scouting, which, you know, is a choice. Might be trying to get a bunker up. Sneaky sneak. If the first gateway unit is trying to be aggressive, it might not be checking. But it looks like it was just a check on an actual nexus. No MaxPax proxy gateway, which I guess he does do on this map, now that I'm thinking about it. I feel like I see a lot of proxy gateways from him up over on this corner, you know? So that just confirmed that wasn't the case. It also didn't see a Zealot rushing forward either, so it confirms that there's no super aggression in the early game, which MaxPax kind of just like throws in. Like, yeah, this game, yeah, sure, whatever. Twilight Council is the choice, so I was wrong. It is going to be 3 4 gates in a row. First one, fair game. Second one, first one went so wonderfully, why not do it again? Third time after you've lost with it, that's where you start to get a little more suspicious. Is it actually a good best of 5 plan? Yeah, a lot of times I would say no, but MaxPax is MaxPax, so he gets to do what he wants in terms of 4 gate, 4 gate, 4 gate, 4 gate, 4 gate. Do whatever you want. And now Clem, as soon as he realizes the Twilight Council, which he has yet to actually scout, he'll know. You know what? The cheesiest, most surprising thing MaxPax could do would be to Twilight Council 2 gate 3rd Nexus. Like, oh, the probe went down. Oh, and the Reaper survived. Oh, and it gets a scout. Yeah, that was a little unfortunate. But, I mean, it wasn't going to do very much more anyway. So, the Twilight Council is scouted. Now, that Twilight Council wasn't researching, which is a little sus, but it is actually going to be a 4 gate. I mean, you do want to double check. You do want to double check it's on a Dark Shrine. And that's where a Howling could come in. But you also grab a Raven very commonly now, as you could see. Last game, we had a Raven the entire time. I mean, that's definitely a more powerful tool that the Balance Council gave Terrans. It is a very, very affordable, quick building Raven so that we don't have to worry about DT rushes as much anymore. And then they are still useful enough to invest into, even if you're up against a 4 gate and not a DT rush, obviously, because it's what Terrans do now. So yeah, that's, you know, I think at this point, Clem, pretty sure it's going to be a 4 gates. Little thought given to the possibility of Dark Shrine. Maybe not so much. As I said, MaxPax has not been doing it all that often. But we have a armory. So I was going to say, we're probably not going to have a Raven. So he's actually just, he's saying, okay, I don't think it's Dark Shrine. It's got to be a 4 gate. You're doing that thing again. Great. And the armory coming down is an interesting decision, because I'm not sure I've seen Clem do that super often against this. Against what he should know is a 4 gate. Would a mine drop with the cloak complication? Gonna force the observer to be built before you actually feel confident about moving across the map. Or is obviously the war prison's built first and foremost. I mean, for the armory's a bit expensive, no doubt, but you can see just how much more MaxPax has to consider. Now, that's very unfortunate. The second Woodermine didn't actually get to burrow. That was a, you know, X amount of time. Let's say like 5 seconds of extra time that MaxPax had to attend his own base. That's pretty important. But the main will finally go down. The observer was scans, but the Woodermine had already popped off, so a bit wasted there. And now the question is, Clem, do you have enough back at home? It's really not all that different, I would say. The armory does interfere with some part of your production, but, you know, the one tank on the high ground is just mispositioned. Second tank only just now popped out. Maybe that is the timing that was interrupted. But I know that MaxPax, but Clem has also only gone like 1 Woodermine before. And this was 2, obviously. So I'm not sure that's even what was interrupted. The point is, now we have 2 tanks well positioned. Behind Little Sim City, 3rd tank about to pop out. Bio, a really good number of bio. They obviously don't want to chase after the Stalkers without the tanks. Not before they have Stim, but it is what it is. And that's MaxPax knows that too, which is why he abuses his position to kill a reactor. Quite expensive, quite slow building. But by the looks of things, the 4 gate will not work. I would say that at this point, there's no way it snowballs. It could still deal damage. Little hit squad of Bio was hoping to find just the Warp Prism, or maybe only 4 Stalkers, since it finds many. However, only the Marauder really lost its life there. Natural was, again, protected by 2 bunkers, and yeah, Clem not letting too many errors slip on by, because that's what we're counting at this point. The snowball's not going to happen. The 4-gate isn't going to directly win. What are we really counting? Do the 4 Stalkers and a Warp Prism kill SCVs? Do they snowball on half of the Terran army, so they trade out maybe like 3 Stalkers for 5 Marauders and 3 Marines? Like, those things are what can influence whether or not MaxPax actually lives post 4-gate. And he's not really getting a whole lot here. He's losing his Observer. MaxPax did grab a 3rd Nexus once he realized, well, he does this actually every single game, but I imagine the timing is a little bit different depending on how well the 4-gate is going, but he does often have that 3rd Nexus building. And then the technology decision behind is also something that he can change up. Last game went for the High Templars. This game, he's going for the Dark Templars. Clem did not grab a Raven this time, and that actually might be exactly why MaxPax is doing this. He noticed the lack of Raven. Otherwise, Dark Templar, you know, they're gambling. They are not easy to afford on just barely free base mining. It's not up and running. As you might also be trying to replace some more actual army units. As you see Stalkers going down to the chase, more of them going to go down as well. MaxPax just bleeding off his actual... I mean, attacking units is actually kind of strong to say for Stalkers too, isn't it? Like, this is... You need charge lots, Immortals, like Colossus ideally, and that's just not all going to happen. Charge also denied! Oh my god, 1.9 seconds to go. Can that actually get repowered? I don't know, man. MaxPax killing some SCVs with that DT. They did enter into Clem's bases, making this a little more complicated than it should be. Clem now actually going to be really sad about not having that Raven, but it looks like MaxPax will admit defeat, as he has taken far too much damage, and I'm guessing his DT just got cleaned up, so... Yeah, Clem. He does seem to have MaxPax under control again. And now we're on match point. Bottom left, it is MaxPax. Top right of Royal Blood, it is Clem, who's not having as much trouble post 4-gate. The first game, the problem was the 4-gate directly, combined with Clem's unideal opener. The second and third game, there was no room for MaxPax to create errors, I guess, force errors from Clem, which the reason he won the games that he did in the last 2 series, I would kind of chalk up to that. There were a few games where the 4-gate defense was truly subpar, but then there was a couple others that were just the 4-gate did barely enough, and then complications with the run buys. The classic MaxPax dilemma. But Clem seems to have a handle on that again. Might be a little more confident about his general safe macro game. Because actually in the 3-0 that he took 2 weeks ago, I would say that he would play the just kind of safe defensive anti-4-gate, and he would still fail. A couple of the games in the last series they played too. And that's where you would get a, you would doubt. You'd be like, oh, is that good enough just to defend the 4-gate? So we even had Clem forced to really change things up stylistically in the last series they played. On the ropes, seemingly unable to figure out MaxPax for last week's best of 5. He changed over into a very, very defensive macro Terran. Like, defend the 4-gate or whatever is coming at you, yes, of course, but then also, 7-minute 4th CC, like a TVZ thing. And then facing MaxPax in a mid to late game scenario. I mean, that definitely felt like it was forced. He wasn't just like, oh, you know what, I just decided to do this for fun. No, Clem felt forced to do that. But Clem's real highlight moments are often in that mid-game, the early mid, whatever you want to call it. Where post 4-gate, he gets to break out with his upgraded bio and medevacs and do all the little micro that he loves to do. So, now that he's winning the games in which he just defends the 4-gate and goes around running around with stemmed bio, you think that's just what he's going to do to win the series. MaxPax is once again 4-gating, so okay, now we're getting on the edge of insanity because this is the 4th game in a row in which he's Twilight Council opening, presumably 4-gate, no DTs, and after losing 2 games back-to-back with it. I don't know. I will always hesitate to believe in such things, even when MaxPax proves me wrong. And consistent forgating ends up proving him the victor. I'm still gonna be like, I don't know. Really though? Because it's not supposed to be dependable. This is MaxPax again, with a guy who seems to be in some way stubborn. I don't actually know if he is. It's just that, you know, he kind of chooses something and he's like, I really believe this is gonna work. I really believe in this. And especially before he was well known, people saying, no, stop that. Didn't seem to faze him. And pesky old ZombieGrub being like, well, maybe don't do that again. Might not faze him either. Oh my god, he did the thing. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, he did the thing. He actually 2-gate Nexus. Oh my good god. This is like, I don't know, 1 out of like 100 games of a Twilight Council opener that I've seen him actually add that 3rd Nexus at this time. He almost never does this. I actually don't remember the last time he did. It's always a 4-gate after a Twilight Council. But if he was hoping to do this against a voluntarily blind Terran, you know, someone who's just like, no, I know what you're doing. I don't need to scout. He was wrong. Clem did bother to scout the 3rd Nexus. And the 3rd Nexus actually down in building makes it the easiest scout ever. Howlane pokes in, goes up, okay, and then drives back out. And you can't really afford a fake 3rd Nexus if you're actually 4-gating before anyone comes up with that brilliant idea. So, MaxPax entering into a macro game, of which he will prioritize the gateway units. The question is, how much gas will he be getting with this? Is it going to be far more charge lots or a bit of a healthier mix of charge stalkers? With absolutely 0 additional gases, it will definitely be very charge-based. 3rd gas could kind of mix things up a little bit more. Clem's Raven is coming across as the Observer gets placed in position. Very perfectly timed there. The Raven might just get got. Yeah, jump up, does it get got? Raven's actually kind of tanky. Against stalkers, anyway. Auto turret, not going to do a whole lot. It is what it is. Clem just going to keep that tucked into the corner. Now he's got to wonder exactly what his opponent is going into. So the 3rd Nexus scout immediately. Fantastic. Primo, right? Clem's like, yeah, let's do this. Mid-game PVT, let's go. But he doesn't know if it's Colossus or Charge or what. And now that scan is absolutely perfectly timed. Exactly what he needs to be questioning. He now has the answer to. There aren't any gases in that natural. It's got to be mass charge lot. And if it's mass charge lot, I'm actually better off playing more defensive, which he has gotten used to. I mean, Clem doesn't have to be the hyperactive kid on the field with his bio. Last series they played last week actually proved that really well, that he was able to pivot mid-series and go, you know what's going to work? Defense. A more even obnoxious turtle Terran, which is not what Clem is known for. But he pivoted and he made it work, and it was great. So this is the time to do so again. Now, MaxPax knows that he was scanned, knows that Clem knows. So now would be the time to actually try and fit in a lot while the Terran is defending. So he's like, yeah, you be scared of me warping in 50 charge lots. Yeah, you stay on those 2 bases, you Terran player. And then actually you don't warp in many zealots at all. Then you go into your gases and your robotics bay and a 2nd robo and a 4th nexus and so on and so forth. And the Terran player is going to have to rescan. You know, 60 seconds from the last scan and be like, ow, you. And then it'll be very close timing as to whether or not the Protoss has fit everything they need to fit in macro-wise before the Terran player comes across the map and kills them. This Hellion Scout does the job of a scan perfectly fine, I think. Hold on, let me double check. I mean, the 4th Nexus is one thing. You can actually absolutely mass charge lot games with 4th Nexus. That's it all the time. And he didn't scout the robotics bay, but he did scout a gas. Only 1, but still. And there's also been not very many zealots appearing, so I think Clem is kind of putting 2 and 2 together, saying, all right, I don't think you're really, you know, you're not doing this all in where you just max out on zealots and then try and overwhelm me as I move out. And if you are, I'll play pretty carefully. You know, with 5 Widow Mines, a hefty number of bio units, all packed together. You know, even if you do overwhelm me, maybe I should still be able to escape and not be overwhelmed, actually. Zealots, unsurprisingly, going for a run by. Kill the bunker and a Marauder as well, but what about the actual main force? Has MaxPax managed to, again, fit everything he needs to actually contend with upgraded bio into the allotted time from scaring Clem with this mass charge lot potential? I don't know if it has. I don't know, man. I don't know. Equal upgrades, but only one Colossus against all these Marauders. And a tank to help out. Oh, and interference missions as well. That Raven coming in means that MaxPax will have to leave. The Zealots are now what he really has to hope for. They do a lot of damage. So far, not so good. Widowmines pop off to help. Reinforcements just barely enough with the SCV pull as well. Supply blocks Protoss as they are on the brink of defeat. This is, oh, double interference matrix, actually. Both Colossus taken out of the equation before the Raven went down. Oh, no. One Colossus dies, second Colossus dies, and with no Colossus, MaxPax has no chance in game number 4. This will be it. Despite MaxPax staying in the game, he really does not have a leg to stand on. Nexus will survive for now, but the command center remains mostly untouched. Clem's worker count's almost identical to that of the Protoss, and so much army getting built up back at home. Actually, not that much, but still, so much of a supply difference. 50 army supply difference, and now the upgrades actually are favorable for the Terran as well. Clem has some units just like over here, not doing anything. And they're not being destroyed either. Real missed opportunity for MaxPax. Maybe he knows it's there and he's waiting for the disruptor, but Clem is able to retreat with the majority of his army, get healed up, regain that medevac energy, set up his defenses in the main and the natural and the third. Not actually the main. He's not putting any missile turrets there. But there's no Warp Prism to worry about. So he doesn't need it. It's just the Zealots coming in on the ground. Some reinforcements is all it takes to deal with this. And MaxPax will tap out kind of voluntarily. Didn't even really wait for that push to come. GG's. Clem with a 3-1 is back on track against MaxPax. Whatever really confused him 2 weeks ago seems to no longer confuse him. So GG's.